Welcome to View Thunder, curated movie reviews that celebrate art, design, and cinematic storytelling. My name is Kyle, and I thank you for tuning in. 2023 was a phenomenal year for movies being released on a media format that I'm continually hearing is dead. Simultaneously, the streaming services took a massive $5 billion hit last year, and even though some big box retailers like Best Buy and Target have either severely cut their stock or removed it, there's obviously still a market for movies on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K discs. Boutique labels like Shout, Arrow, Kino Lorber, and the Criterion Collection are just rocking it. But the studios are still releasing discs of newly restored titles as well. I don't see the disc format market ever returning to what it was a decade ago, but I think more folks are seeing the limitations of streaming and looking to even own a few of their favorite movies and shows in a format that they control. My year-end wrap-up isn't really a best of list because I can't afford to buy everything and rate it. Plus, I don't like the idea that I'm some paragon of critical assessment telling you what is and isn't the best anyway. So without further ado, here are my personal favorite new releases from 2023. Dragon Slayer. This might very well be my favorite dragon movie of all time. The story and the design of this film is incredible, with gorgeous location photography as well as brilliant set design and excellent performances all around. The dragon itself, Vermithrax Pejorative, is awesome and terrifying and full of character brought to forceful life through go-motion animation and full-scale puppetry. I grew up with this movie, another one that I was introduced to on TV, and this brand new 4K transfer from Paramount is just stunning. Solid black levels and HDR colors give the film a very naturalistic look and enhance the already impressive visual effects. I picked this up with the steelbook packaging only because I like the artwork more than the standard release. If you know who the artist is for the interior art, please leave a comment. Unlike the standard packaging, the steelbook does not include a bundled Blu-ray, only the 4K disc, and it has the feature film and a few bonus features, including an excellent hour-long documentary on the making of the film. This is highly recommended, both the film and a release. Another long-time favorite of mine received an incredible 4K upgrade courtesy of the Criterion Collection. I had previously owned Terry Gilliam's lusciously whimsical The Adventures of Baron Munchausen on an older Blu-ray, and it, without going into detail, looked pretty bad. This new 4K transfer, I'm happy to say, is the complete opposite. A new 4K scan of the original camera negative breathes incredible new life into this picture with beautifully translated film grain, exquisite color, shadows, and details. I was in awe watching this. The story follows the outlandish tall tales of the eponymous Baron Munchausen and his adventures to find his lost friends and save a city under siege. It is intricately staged and brimming with imagination and humor. Criterion's packaging comes with beautiful new cover art by illustrator Abigail Giuseppe and houses the feature film on both 4K UHD and Blu-ray. A third Blu-ray disc is packed with bonus content. The film is a pure joy and the perfect double feature with Gilliam's 1981 feature The Time Bandits, which also received a new 4K release from Criterion last year. RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop. Now, anyone that has ever discussed movies with me knows that I'm a longtime fan of Paul Verhoeven's 1987 action masterpiece, RoboCop. This 80s action classic is a huge influence on my development as both a film fan and a creative. To say I love this movie is an understatement, but I've got nothing on filmmakers Eastwood Allen and Christopher Griffith, who set out to create the definitive documentary about the making of this film. Now, when I say definitive, I mean that this exhaustively researched epic is made up of 4 episodes, with a total runtime of 5 hours. 5 hours. It covers every single scene in detail of the film, featuring interviews with the director, actors, writers, producers, stuntmen, prop master, set designer, firearms specialist, special effects, visual effects, animators, costumers, makeup artists, the film's music score, and everything in between. It is massive and beautifully produced, with no stone left unturned. One of the finest documentaries ever made about the ups and downs of a movie's production. If you're a fan, this documentary is an absolute must-have. Now, something to note. Because of a mix-up, the packaging lists several bonus features that aren't actually included. I honestly didn't notice at first, and even after learning of the missing content, I still don't really miss it. This is a 5-hour doc, 5 hours, about one of my favorite movies, so I don't really feel the need to complain. William Friedkin's 1985 neo-noir, To Live and Die in LA, gets a beautifully new 4K restoration from one of my favorite labels, Kino Lorber. The story follows a United States Secret Service agent on the hunt for a counterfeiter, with perfectly era-specific film score by Wang Chung. Everything about this movie is super cool, and one of Friedkin's best films. The 4K transfer is impeccable, and the set comes with a bundled Blu-ray and a nice assortment of bonus features. Not much else to add here for this one, just an all-around excellent release of a great film. If you already own it on Blu-ray, this is probably worth an upgrade. Everything I have to say about Arrow Video's 4K release of Walter Hill's The Warriors might border on hyperbole. I freaking love this set. This collector's edition release and packaging exceeded my expectations in every way, and if I were to pick one item from my list as my absolute favorite of the year, this would be it. First off, I adore this movie about a Coney Island gang wrongly accused of murder trying desperately to get back to their territory while every other gang in the city hunts them. The young cast is incredible, and the storyline taking place on a single night throughout a decaying New York City with a cavalcade of comic book style gangs moves with a swift economy of purpose. Add some perfectly placed songs and Barry Dvorak's supremely cool rock score, and this flick bristles with electricity. And Arrow Video gave this movie the star treatment it deserves. I picked up the 4K set with the theatrical cut of the film given a sublime 4K transfer that presents a beautiful film grain and brings out detail like never before. Colors and lighting really pop with audio choices that feature 5 different sound mixes. I viewed the film with the original mono track and loved it. The disc is jam-packed with a ton of bonus features as well. It also comes with a beautifully designed 100-page perfect-bound booklet with photos, an essay and interview, a double-sided poster, sticker sheets, photo cards, and a second 4K disc featuring the 2005 alternate cut of the film. All of this packaged inside a hard cardboard slipcase with a slipcover featuring beautiful new illustrations by Laurie Greasley. If you don't have a 4K setup, you can pick up this same set with a 1080p Blu-rays and all the same bonus content. This is an awesome, definitive release, and all around it gets my highest recommendation. In 2015, director Michael Mann released his cyber thriller Black Hat to very little fanfare. But I'm telling you, this is an excellent and exciting film about the hunt for a cyber terrorist and has all the expertly staged action, sound design, and obsessive details expected from this director. Arrow Video has delivered a very cool 2-disc release with slipcover and includes beautiful new artwork by illustrator Doug John Miller. What is truly special about this set, and the primary selling point for me, is the director's cut of the film being made available for the very first time. And after finally being able to see this cut, I think it's a superior version of the film. I kind of expected this to be the case, which is why I took a chance and purchased the less expensive 1080p release rather than shelling out a few more bucks for the 4K. Because for whatever reason, Arrow Video didn't do a 4K restoration of the director's cut, so no matter which one you purchase, the director's cut is only available on a 1080p Blu-ray. I'll be reviewing the film and this release more in depth in another video, but I can say that despite any other reservations I may have, I will probably never watch the theatrical cut of the film again. In 1955, Charles Laughton directed his first and only picture. Unfortunately, the film didn't do well at the time, and Laughton died thinking it was a failure. He never got to see this masterpiece receive its overdue reevaluation. Night of the Hunter is one of the finest and most unique films of the era, with powerful performances by Robert Mitchum, Lillian Gish, and a young Billy Chapin. Incredible black and white cinematography features hard-edged, stylized compositions inspired by German Expressionism, and scenes of dreamlike beauty in the second act as the children escape downriver that are simply sublime. Kino Lorber has delivered a knockout 4K restoration with this release, and the film has never looked better. Solid technical marks are all around. Film grain especially is perfectly resolved here, but if you love this film like I do and already own the excellent Criterion release from 2010, I recommend hanging on to both of them for a complete collection of bonus material. The two releases complement each other really well as a set. When I finally sat down to screen Nolan's blockbuster hit very late in 2023, my general distaste for biopics kept my expectations in check. But I was relieved that the film stayed focused on Oppenheimer's work with the atomic program, while tangential storylines and characters coming and going continued to support just that segment of his life and the film's narrative. I like that cohesion. So as biopics go, this is an excellent one, and it is elevated by Nolan's usual brilliance as a filmmaker, who has astonishingly found a way to balance that fine line between pure auteurism and mainstream commercial filmmaking. So what can I say about Universal's 4K release? It's just as brilliant, reference quality even. The alternating between color and black and white photography, as well as frequent changes in aspect ratios, is handled as deftly as it ever has been. It's never once distracting and works to further capture you within the story. Suffice to say that since this 4K disc sold out immediately upon release, then my guess is that plenty of you already own it, and I don't need to sell you on the technical merits any further. Here's another stellar 4K release from Arrow Video, Martin Scorsese's wonderfully charming film Hugo. I tend to really enjoy movies that are about movies, and while Hugo can be described as such, it's also so much more. Scorsese brings his experience and genuine love of cinema history together into a lovely story of discovery, friendship, and purpose. The 3-disc set features absolutely pristine transfers of the feature film on both 4K and 1080p, and is jam-packed with extensive bonus features. The colors, lighting, and detail here is astonishing. It creates a hyper-realism that paints the snow-covered city of Paris with an illustrative, dreamlike quality. It's really beautiful. The packaging includes cover illustrations by artist Tommy Pocket on the slipcase and insert, and a booklet and double-sided poster. I'm not sure there's much more I can say about John Huston's noir classic The Maltese Falcon that hasn't already been said. Humphrey Bogart's breakout role as private detective Sam Spade has been given an awesome new 4K restoration courtesy of Warner Brothers. The black and white picture has deep, rich shadows and perfect highlights throughout. If there is a downside to this release, it's that the bundled Blu-ray uses an earlier transfer rather than this new restoration. But that Blu-ray does include several bonus features that still make this an excellent release. If you're new to the film or it's an old favorite, this is the best the movie will probably ever look and sound. Very highly recommended. All right, here are some movies that didn't make my primary list of favorites, but they're good enough that I wanted to give them an honorable mention. The Fugitive. Andrew Davis delivered a perfect thriller with Harrison Ford running for his life as he attempts to solve the mystery of his wife's murder. Unfortunately, WB doesn't go out of their way to give the film the star treatment it deserves as far as bonus features and packaging goes, but the presentation of the film in 4K is awesome. It's a very robust restoration and transfer all around. Top marks for color accuracy and shadow detail. Audio presentation is excellent as well. Kino Lorber's release of Human Desire starring Glenn Ford and the luminous Gloria Graham is a great classic film noir that looks fantastic on Blu-ray. And that's really why I wanted to include this release, because I'd like to encourage you to check out more classic pictures like this. There is so much cinema to explore from decades past that tell great stories in ways that seem to have been forgotten. And there are more classics on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K than you might think. If you're looking for something new, try something old. Ronin. This John Frankenheimer-helmed spy thriller stars Robert De Niro in one of his best roles in films. Edited and staged with precision with excellent performances and a story that doesn't treat the audience like fools. Kino Lorber's 4K release is excellent, but comparatively speaking, it didn't blow me away. Don't get me wrong, the film has never looked better, but when putting this list together, I was being a little nitpicky and it didn't measure up to my top choices. Still, one of my favorite releases of the year. Swamp Thing. I'm not sure I can say this is really one of my favorites of the year, even though MVD's 4K scan looks excellent, with colors and detail of the bayou locations that jump off the screen. Special features and packaging are really good too. The reason I included this is simply because I love that a low-budget B-flick like this got such a beautiful 4K presentation. It's kind of incredible. I wish WB had put this much heart into their release of The Fugitive. And that's it for this episode of View Thunder. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you made it all the way here, I thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment below about your favorite releases from last year, or what do you think of the ones on my list? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, after the movie, always stay for the end credits.